guys, welcome to the channel. Please like, share and subscribe. So today we are going to talk about the trades I took this week and how they did. And one way to learn is to always review your trades. The ones you did well, you make sure you know what made you identify those trades to be able to consistently get those trades, and the ones that were bad, you'll be able to work on them to be able to identify certain things that could have made you not take the trade or wait for a certain confirmation. So these are the trades I took this week. So I took Euro AUD, Euro NZD, CHF JPY, GBP USD, USD CHF, and then these 4 indices. And I also took a trade on GBP JPY. So let's go through the trades that were bad trades this week, and then we'll look at the good ones. So the first one we'll go through would be Euro AUD. So with Euro AUD trade, the trade is not necessarily bad at the moment. So what was the idea behind this trade? So this trade was picked from the daily time frame. So what I was looking at is something of this sort. So if you are not familiar with the way I trade, things might be a little different, but then if you follow along, you can learn one or two. So we have a reversal pattern here, and then price broke through the level. We can also extend this level here, and we can see multiple touch. So after the rejection, so price was coming here. I believe this was a Friday candle, and when price rejected here, I saw opportunity for price to continue to the upside. So around this level here, that's where I got into the market. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So the 4-hour time frame, the idea here was price rejects here and pushes up. So what I was looking at here was trend line break and retest and a bounce to the upside, but this is where my stop loss was. So that's what I'm saying. Technically this trade is still valid, but it didn't move. Like, it's consolidated for like 2-3 days and stayed at that level. So this was my target to push up. I think it was about 200 pips, I think 240 pips. And the stop loss was below the low here, but trade here was something of this sort. So after the pullback here, so the market went into a little profit and pushed back here. So technically the trade is not a losing trade, but we are in loss, and it looks like I'm kind of thinking out, like looking to adjust my buyer. So on the daily time frame, nothing has happened here. Like, the structure of the market looks the same thing, price testing this level. So we need, when the candle opens today, we want to see how the market reacts to the level, and depending on how it reacts to the level, we will look at a push to the upside. So that's what I'm saying. The trade is more or less like still valid. So if you have a push to the upside, that is a potential 400 pips, but that could take like a week or a couple of weeks. Yeah. So today is the 22nd of May, which is Sunday. So in case you see this later, you can go back to your chart and then check and see how price has reacted this level. Maybe, who knows, you could get a trade idea. There's a similar idea with EN. So EN, I was also looking at a push up to the upside. So those trade ideas were very similar. A push up to this side. Sorry, let me clear these. Right. So from the daily time frame, I was thinking price would continue pushing from here. So after the rejection here, continue push to the upside. But with EN, I hit stop loss on EN. I went in here. This is why I went into the market here. So we have a reversal pattern here. Price broke, rejected, and then hit stop loss. My stop loss was just below here. So that was another loss. So this was stop loss was about around 83 pips, because there was a long-term trade. The take profit was around 240. So risking 80 pips, that might be huge for some people, but depending on your reward and how you are swinging your trade, it could be an okay trade. But different people have different approaches to their risk management. So this trade, the risk reward was about almost 3.1:3. That's 2.95, which is not was not that bad. And another trade that was terrible was CHF JPY. So the idea for this trade was similar to what was happening to most of the JPY pairs. I was looking at a rejection here. A rejection from here and a push to the downside here. But you see price broke to the upside. The good thing about this is the stop loss was really tight at the top there, because I was buying right at the zone. We have price flip to the upside to test the zone at the top. So this is how the stop loss was, and this was the idea for the trade. So 256 pips, resting 51 pips. So that means that is like minus 80 plus 50. That's minus 130 pips on this trade. But let's use this opportunity to talk about this trade. So if you look at the price action here, we see this thing is super bearish now, right? Bearish. The market structure, very bearish. And it looks like we have a row reversal at this point here. We draw this level here. So this is something that we'll be keeping an eye on when the market opens. What we are looking at is price should not break this level, something like this, a lower high and a push to the downside, right? We'll keep an eye for. And if this happens, the reason why CHF JPY pushed up was because CHF was stronger than JPY, even though JPY was a little strong. So if we get something like this here, that is a potential 300 pips. And if we get an early entry, we could get this falling for the whole week. So that is something to keep an eye on. And then GBP USD. So GBP USD trade was in two phases. It was in two phases. So this was the first trade. The first trade was here, a break of this level and a retest. So I went in here to the top. So currently our pip count is minus 80, minus 50 for, and then we will say Euro AUD is also it's in drawdown now, so it's minus 30 for that. So in total, that is minus 160 pips for those three trades. GBP USD, the break and retest, this was the entry for that trade, where a reversal pattern, price broke, retested. Entry from here to the top. So this was a good trade. 93 pips on GU, and we took a sell from this level down here. So this, I close out the trade when price pulled back here, so I didn't lose money on this, but I was expecting the market to continue dropping, and then during the HN session on Friday it pulled back up. I took this trade on Wednesday and they started dropping Thursday, and then Friday pulled back up. So this was also a valid trade, but we just made about 13 pips on that trade. And the next trade I took was USD CHF. So USD CHF is in a liquidity level here. I was expecting price to continue pushing here, but I had a really, the trade is still a good trade. I'll be looking at a potential push on the USD CHF to the upside, but I had a really tight stop loss. So my stop loss was literally below this level here. So this was where I went in the trade, where the arrow is. And I had just a few pips here. My stop loss was just right here. I had minus 13 pips. So price wicked it, came back, tested the level, and pushed to the upside. So we lost 13 pips on this, but we'll keep an eye on this for a potential reversal. So let's look at how it looks like on the 4-hour time frame. So price is tapping into this liquidity here, potential push to the upside. So we will see how the market opens, and this will be our reference low at this level here. Reference low. So we are looking at something of this sort, and then we'll look to enter here, and we can get a potential of 200 pips. So this is something to keep an eye on. GJ was another good trade here. So here, this trade was taken on the 1-hour time frame. So similar to what Euro JPY was doing, price came up to this level here. So this is how it goes into the market, where this break trend line break here on the 1-hour time frame, and then the sell was here. But I got out of this early. I didn't take all the pips. I got out here because of this liquidity here. So this also saw another successful trade, 215 pips. Right. So those are the Forex instruments that we took for this week. So we made minus 160 pips on EA, EU, EA, EN, CHF, JPY. We also lost 13 pips on USD CHF, and we made 13 pips on GU, so that cancels out. So that it will be minus 160 pips and then plus 215 pips. So that's what we made on the Forex instruments. We made 215 and minus 160 pips. So that's a potential. The pips counts for those trades were 215 minus 160. That's 55 pips. So a total of 55 pips for the Forex instrument. And the other trades I took was on the 4 indices, US 30, NAS 100, S&P 500, and then German 30. So for the indices, I posted all of the indices on my IG. They were all posted on my IG before they drop. So what was the idea behind this trade? So I started monitoring this after the drop from the previous week. So on German 30, this is a level that I was looking at. That was where the market dropped from the previous week. So I was looking at that level because price left the liquidity behind in that zone. So a return into the liquidity level. And for S&P 500, there was a similar to the liquidity level, but that was a gap. So if you look closely here, you see there was a gap here. And for NAS 100, it was also a return to a liquidity level here. So you have this liquidity level here. US 30, the liquidity level was not clear here, so that was a price testing this level here. But one thing about the indices is you see them forming a similar structure. You will not get the same picture being painted out on all of them, but it gives you like a synchronous idea of what could potentially happen on them. So for US 30, this trade was taken on the 1 hour time frame. So after price created this double bottom here, double top. Price created this double top here, push down, and a break of this level here. So that's where we got in that trade, and the push down was very quick. So it got out before the second pullback here, so I didn't catch everything here, but that was the final TP for this. So with US 30, we got 1,190 points. And then on the 1 hour time frame, you see we have a head and shoulders pattern. So they are all going to have a similar movement, but they would come in different forms. So this was the trade, the first drop here, and that was 380 points. So this was also shared in the public Telegram. And the last one was S&P 500. So for S&P 500, I only posted it on my IG. I think the time I posted it on my IG, it has already dropped to this level here. So I don't know if anyone took the trade, but it was quite late. So that had a similar robust pattern here, but we have a test of the gap here. So this was the gap that price tested. The gap here. Breakout and a drop here. So this was a quick drop to the liquidity level. So this was the only one out of the indices that I took the second draw because of the liquidity level here, and it was the least pips amongst them. So this was 200. No, it was not 200. The trade was below this level. That's approximately 170 points. 170 points. So in terms of points, the total number of points we made on the indices were 11904 US 30, 1190690, 380, and then 170. So the total number of points were 2,430 points in total for all the four indices. So in terms of pips, you multiply that by 10. So that is 24,300 pips. So in addition to the 55 pips we made from Forex instrument, that makes the pip count to 24,355 pips as the pip count for last week. So last week was a really great week. And I've not really been trading indices actively. I mostly trade synthetic indices and the Forex instrument. I do analyze this for some of my students, but personally, I don't trade the indices frequently. So trading it for once in a while and then making almost 25,000 pips is really great. That is a sign it means I should come to stay. Right. So these are the trades that I took for the weekend. It was a really great week. So let's point out a few pointers to keep an eye on. So for the S&P 500 price, when the market open, we are looking at a continuous push. There's this liquidity above here. Forgotten which time frame it was on. Let me look at the other instrument. That's 100. All right. I don't quite remember which time frame. So we have a liquidity level sitting on the 5 minutes time frame, but mostly like levels on the 5 minutes time frame, they are trusted, but I would wait for more confirmation before I trade with a level on the 5 minutes time frame. So here Because of this liquid sitting here, what I would look for is more price action here to look for a trend line break. So if you get a trend line break here, that would be good. We'll be looking at a pullback to test this level here. If you want to be very conservative, this is how you want to look at it. Take your profits from the wick. So I don't know what pattern would form from here, but if you get a trend line break, we'll be looking at a drop. And that's on the S&P 500, that's 44 point, that's 400 pips. On US 30, we also have price. So the level here is not so strong because it's on a 5 minutes time frame. So again, before you go in on this, you want to wait for some price action, trend line break. Depending on where it happens, we're also looking to take a sell from here to the wick here. So for US 30, we could get about 300 points, which is about 3,000 pips. Similar. So with NAS 100, so when I'm trading the indices, everything should match up for me to get a really good entry. So with NAS 100, price has already gone past this liquidity level, and we have a liquidity level sitting on top here. So what does this mean? If NAS pushes into this liquidity before it drops, it means that US 30 will target another liquidity level up, or to push up to test another structure before it drops. And S&P 500 will also push up to test another structure. I've forgotten which time frame that the liquidity levels were lining up, but what the NAS is telling us is when the market opens, we have a very high probability of a push, a little push up, and then expect some drops, but wait for a confirmation to look to go short. And on the 1 hour time frame, this is the liquid level we'll be targeting here. That is a void in the market. If you are looking to go up for some time, price needs to take liquidity from these levels here. All right, hope this was not long. So these were the trades I took this week, and hopefully we get nice trades going into the coming week. So if you are not in the Telegram channel, the link will be in the description. Join the Telegram, and I'll share most of my trades in the Telegram. It is quite new, so just a few members. So join and let's vibe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.